Hi everyone, Matt here from tracyandmatt.co.uk and from unboxes.com. Here I am looking at the new Nikon D3100, which is their new digital SLR camera. It's been out a little while, we've just got our hands on it and do a quick unboxing video. Now this one is the somewhat more entry level of their cameras. That's just the lens cap that I've lifted out of the box there. And let's just move that out of the way. So the camera here itself, that's in plastic, and the camera body, and comes with this looks like it's a 18 to 55 nickel lens, which we'll look at that in a bit more detail in just a second. And the other side of the box, let's move that out of the way. The other side of the box we have another box, and in that we find the battery charger, which actually just plugs straight into the wall. European plug on there, but that plugs into the wall with battery in it, so it actually doesn't charge within the camera. We have a lens cover, or that's actually an eyepiece cover, an inline choke filter type thing, and another one there for putting around cables. Then we have the battery, which is kind of large. It's pretty chunky and weighty. It's 1030 milliamp hours, let's say quite chunky. And then finally we have the neck strap for the camera. I'm not going to take that out, truth, in a neck strap before. Now I must mention that this is obviously a PR model. I suspect that the full retail does come with a few more other accessories. I would say probably some cables, and certainly going to come with a UK style charger rather than the European one that I've got here. But then to all intents and purposes, this is pretty much what you're going to get, plus a bit more. I have no manuals or other cables that I would expect to be in there. So we'll take a look at the camera itself. I must confess I'm not a massive, well, I'm not a Nikon user, I'm a Canon user, so some of the features here may be a little bit more alien to me, so we'll just take a look anyway. So first and foremost, it's a 14 megapixel camera, or 14.2 megapixel sensor. On the side I have a cover which covers, we've actually got an external GPS connector there, which is great. I've used this feature on other cameras before, but basically geotags your pictures. I think that's a really good feature. Underneath that we have a mini USB connector, so we can connect to a PC, download your videos, well, videos because it does support video, but download obviously your pictures, transfer them to your PC, and then a mini HDMI connector. Underneath that we have the AV out, which is a 3.5mm style connector. Again, I'm sure that they would come with cables with the full retail. On the back, I'm just going to peel off the screen protector because we can't see it properly. So on the sort of the back, if you like, we have a 3-inch display, which is a high-res display, so fairly high-res and pretty large. I like the fact that it's so generous, because it does mean that when you are reviewing your pictures, they are going to be, well, a lot easier to see. The annoyance with certainly earlier digital SLR cameras, not just Nikon but Canon and various others, but the display on the back was pretty small, and it made reviewing the images a little bit more tricky. Buttons down the side, obviously different various controls, menus and zoom when you're actually in display, that kind of stuff, information button. A delete button, a small hole here which is for a little loudspeaker, jog up and down, left, right, OK button, actually used to navigate around the menus. Here at the top with a push and a flick. Exposure button and dial here, again going through menus and altering settings while you're in display. On top we have a hot shoe, which has a cover on it, but it's a hot shoe for putting on flash, and a pop-up flash here at the top. Main dial for your various settings, and also here at the side 3 different shooting modes, info button, and actually that's your on off button. I'm not sure what that one is. I guess that's for cycling through menus, or maybe just flicking on and off. There we go. And spinning around, have a sensor on the front. I think that's actually a little red eye lamp or autofocus lamp. And see the business end here, which is the lens. flash function on the side. Button here to release the lens. As obviously see the lens there. Quite lightweight. It is obviously only the one that comes with the kit. And one thing I've never really realised, but the lens locks in the opposite direction to Canon, twisting left to right rather than right to left. Anyway, autofocus and manual focus on the lens itself, and then the lens zoom control here, like so. So from 55 to 18 and back again, and obviously the lens end there. This doesn't look like it's been particularly well looked after as a PR model. It looks like it's been a little bit abused. It's got a few scratches and marks on the front of that lens there. The lens cap hasn't been returned. Anyway, over on this side we have a cover here for the SD card. It takes full-size SD cards up to 32 gig SDHC memory cards, and then on the bottom we have the place for the battery. So let's just pop that in and see if we have any charge. Pops in like so, and then also on the bottom you have a 1/4 inch connector there for putting on the tripod. Let's just see if we can power on. There we can, English. There we go. Set the date format to the month here. Daylight saving on. Yeah, we'll just set that as OK. There we are. Let's say the lens not attached properly. Well, it is. There we go. Let's see if that comes back on. No, it's still saying lens not attached. As I say, I think this has had a little bit of a hard life already, the camera, but we'll take a look at that before we come to do our full review. Obviously this is how we get through the menus. Playback menu, then we've got a camera menu, setup menu, retouch. That's pretty useful, so you can do redout correction, trim and everything actually in camera, which is very good. Recent settings, and down at the bottom we can't get to, I guess various other parts and bits of these features will actually not become active until it thinks that the lens is connected, so that's something we're going to have to look at before we do the review. Quick run down the specification. Obviously it's digital SLR, Nikon F mount with autofocus connector there actually within the mount itself, which is pretty cool. We also have a 14.2 megapixel sensor, so 14.2 megapixels, not too bad at all. The image sensor is 23.1 by 15.4 millimeters. Image size up to 4,608 pixels by 3,072. Records in both RAW, JPEG and RAW plus JPEG with SD and SDX XC compliant SD card reader on the side, or SD card socket on the side. Up to 3 frames per second on fast shooting mode, and ISO settings from 100 to 3200 ISO, and there's also an expansion mode which will take it up to 12,800 ISO. It's pretty decent. LCD monitor, as I say, is 3-inch. It's approximately 230,000 dots. And dimensions, well, very difficult to tell you, but the actual body itself is 124 millimeters wide, 96 tall, and kind of from front to back at this sort of widest point it's 74, and it weighs 505 grams with the battery and a micro and an SD card installed. That excludes the lens, but to be honest it doesn't feel particularly heavy. It's a bit smaller in terms of the body size than I'm used to. It is pretty compact, which is pretty good. I mean, that's both, well, it's both a good thing and a bad thing depending on your point of view. If you're actually out and about carrying it around, if you're on holiday, just using it as a kind of a shoot, well, not point and shoot, but a pretty straightforward camera, then yes, it's going to be, you know, nice and lightweight to carry. The main disadvantage for somebody like me with fairly large hands is that when you wrap your hands around the grip, really you can only get sort of 2 fingers, maybe 3, 2 really, around the camera. You can only support the bottom with a little finger, and then you've got the finger on the top here to actually shoot the pictures, which is, you know, just means that it's not quite as secure, not quite as steady. For a larger body for that reason, but I guess it depends on the size of your hands and the application you really want to use it for. so it's pretty decent. As I say, this will record HD video footage as well, which is one thing that we're really going to want to try out, and hopefully I'll do some sample videos for you. But it will record up to 1080p. Only mono video, mono audio recording. It's only got one microphone, so it's only going to record in mono, unfortunately. But you know, nevertheless, it will record in 1080p and full autofocus whilst recording. Some of the earlier cameras, digital SLRs, that had this capability required you to either use manual focus or to set the focus before you started recording. They wouldn't autofocus throughout the recording, so that's pretty good. So say this is the D3100. I'm going to do a full review for you over the next couple of weeks. It can take me a little while because so I'm not particularly used to Nikon. I have done a Nikon review in the past, but Canon is my normal setup, so I'll do a full review for you over the nenext couple of weeks. In the meantime, if you want to follow us on Twitter, it's twitter.com/TracyandMatt or facebook.com/tracyandmatt.co.uk. So I'll be back soon with some more videos and reviews on tracyandmatt.co.uk. But for now, thanks for watching.